Okay, obviously the topic today is Oda, and Oda keeps lying to us about what's going on in the story. Not necessarily. He's really good at misleading and surprising us, and quite frankly, I'm not sick of it. I like being, like getting my ankles broken every now and again. So I don't want to say the Shanks thing is something that we didn't see because a lot of people did speculate about it. There were a lot of theories about Shanks having a twin, having a clone, etc. But man, the thought process now is let's explore the fact that Shanks does have a clone or twin. That's where we're at right now. It's a clone or twin. That's where we are. And then we're gonna do some comments. I haven't done comments in a long time, highlighting comments from recent videos and just responding to them because comments are hilarious. So yeah, if you want to be a part of these videos, I'm gonna try to do them weekly. I'm gonna try. Just comment. Maybe yours might be featured. You never know. Now, first, Shanks having a twin or a clone. Let's start with the twin. The twin thing is interesting because it goes all the way back to Roger getting Shanks from that chest. Was there another chest with another baby? Was that kid intentionally placed there for someone to pick up? Is Shanks a plant, right? Because at this point, a twin, there's nothing wrong with a twin. We've seen twins used in a bunch of other different mediums. I want to talk about I'm not going to go there because things start to get murky and I don't want to, some plots are protected. And anyway, moving right along, if you know, you know, moving right along, this twin narrative, this twin thing is something that a lot of authors use in their stories. The only issue I have with the twin thing is that they have the same facial hair and the length of their hair is the same. So typically, if twins grow up together, it's like, that's not that odd. But if one is growing up with the Pirate King and one is growing up as a celestial dragon with Garling, why would he have that hairstyle? Only way to remedy this is to have like, there's a party happening in the back. It's like a ponytail or something going on. But for it to be identical, suspension of disbelief a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but just something to think about. I'm like, say you grew the same goatee and you got this. Okay, cool. Y'all are twins. Cool. It is what it is. Now, Whitebeard. Remember when Whitebeard said, my scar aches every time I look at your face? Now, we speculated, he was definitely talking about Garling. Because Garling looked very similar to Shanks when he was younger. Very similar. Now, was Whitebeard talking about stabs? Is that who he's talking about? Or whatever this thing is? We have talked about for a long time. What if the world government cloned Yonko? We mentioned that. Could there be like an S dragon for Kaido? Because that would be insane. I didn't want to think about that. But that's something we've explored for a while. So the twin thing is crazy. It's a bit far-fetched. It's a bit of a layup, right? And again, I've spoken to people that aren't in the community, right? They just read One Piece and they go about their day. And they are just completely shocked. There are people that think it is Shanks, and there are people that think didn't even entertain the possibility of a clone because that's not something they thought about. They were like, well, it has to be Shanks. Who else could it be? Because those theories of Shanks and it not being Shanks at Mary Joa, those things weren't entertained necessarily because it's like people aren't looking that deep. They're reading the story just to read the story. So I get it. But if we entertain that fact that this is indeed a clone, that makes things a bit more murky because all the Yonkos should be cloned then, right? All of them should be. If that's the case, especially Kaido, considering that you were operating and experimenting on Kaido, you have his DNA. You have it for sure. So I don't know if that's coming, but again, that would be a layup. It'd be another layup where we were like, come on, Oda, another layup, which I'm like, there's nothing wrong with layups, right? I think if you make too many layups and it's too many things that people like, oh man, we called it, but it's not everybody. It's the community because we are, let's be honest, we're obsessed. And we try to find every little possibility. And we're wrong 95% of the time, maybe more. But every now and again, we guess something. And it's like, oh my God, this is so telegraphed. Bro, you've been missing on theories your whole career, right? Like you have people in the chat just talking about, oh, here go Oda again. I'm like, bro, like I've seen your comments and you got like 100 of them plus, and you be wrong every week. Now you get one right. Now Oda's ass. Okay. Anyway, not too mad about the Shanks plot point. Again, it's a layup. It is, but I love it. I just have some questions. I want to see how it plays out. So I went back and I rewatched the scene in Mary Joa and how they were talking to this guy. I'm looking at the scene and Peter's pretty much got his back turned. He's not even worried about this guy. I'm like, this is a Yonko and that's disrespect. Now in hindsight, right, having the context that I have, I'm like, of course, because that's not the Yonko. That is just Garling's kid or nephew, whomever. He works for them. And so they don't have to show the respect that they would for Shanks. But then you think about Shanks pulling up and ending the war. It's like, I'm going to do it because it's you. So how deep does this rabbit hole go? Did Garp know, right? Did Sengoku know? For some of these things, have Shanks and this guy ever worked together? Have they ever switched places to help each other? The enemy of my enemy is my friend? Because at the end of the day, the world government, they want to maintain the balance. Shanks, it seems like that's what he wants to do. I'm sure they've interacted at some point. What was that conversation like? How does Shanks feel about about somebody walking around looking exactly like him? Does Loki hate Shanks because of his interactions with Stabs? There's so many questions that I have because things are murky now, right? Somebody said that Mihawk is outright the world's strongest swordsman because Stabs and Shanks were a tag team and the Mihawk didn't know about it. First off, if that was happening, then and Mihawk didn't know about it, L, observation hockey, all right? The clairvoyant, right? Just missing. If you didn't know that, just L. So, I mean, I think they're just being silly, but something I want to throw out there. I am perplexed. Bro, it's something because, bro, there's so many things in that scene with the Gorosei that is just like, bro, they didn't show the scar, the actions. Even people are now dissecting the language. Was like, that's not typically how Shanks speaks. I'm like, bro. So Oda, this was his plan all along. How does Luffy feel about this, though? You know, because if this guy is going around doing things and he looks just like Shanks, he's going to think it's Shanks. I can't wait for him to see Stabs. Oh my gosh. And again, Oda has a chance to do something amazing because he can have fun with this. And I think we can talk about that in another video. As far as like the what ifs that Oda can do with Shanks, with Stabs, without the repercussions of such. Because it's not actually Shanks, but we can have fun with this guy. We can use this guy for agenda. But I want to get to some comments because why not? It's the holidays. Let's get to some comments and see what the heck people are saying out there because y'all know how people are sometimes. Okay, we have Melody QS6RZ says, it seems that someone took advantage of Loki's kindness and he suffered because of it, so he created a shell to protect himself, pretending to be a bad guy, etc. I'm more and more convinced that Loki's a nice guy, that he won't be the antagonist, but rather a friend of Luffy. I 100% agree. I've been saying this, that low-key, he doesn't give off the air of an antagonist or even a bad guy. I think he's done bad things, but I think in the grand scheme of One Piece, he is going to be relatively a good dude. I think the front is, again, based on betrayal that he's highlighting, could be to protect someone else. And so Loki has not felt like an antagonist. Luffy's actions towards Loki tells us that as well. So I fully expect Loki to be somewhat neutral, if not leaning towards the Straw Hat side, even though initially once Luffy releases him, because that's going to happen, it's going to be viewed as the worst possible thing, and Luffy's going to be Elbaf's #1 enemy because they don't know the actual truth. You know what I'm saying? Ace Emperor GHC says, Shanks being a Celestial Dragon was definitely on everyone's bingo card. So that was pretty clear, especially in Film Red, with the insinuations that he's a Figureland. So Shanks being a Celestial Dragon or having some type of affiliation was not far-fetched. Everyone pretty much confirmed that. I think Shanks having a twin or a clone was something that people speculated, but it wasn't on, I mean, I guess, I don't know if that was on everyone's bingo card. Probably a few people's bingo card, but not on everyone's. Just Crip says, Loki after killing his dad. I'm what the culture feel. I don't think he killed his dad. I'm gonna just come right out and say, I don't think Loki killed his dad. I think he was either set up or he's doing it to protect someone else. I got something coming out talking about like my possible theory on Loki, but I genuinely do not think that he killed his dad at all. Plus Monkey says, I don't understand why people are so choked about Stella. We clearly understood that when Mars talked about death. What is death? What is life? Was very prevalent within Egghead. Something we talked about just ad nauseum. I would say this, I've been telling you guys, and people were going on me because I was saying, I don't think Stella's dead. With the core still intact, Stella can always return because whatever exists now came from the main, Stella. So Lilith, all those guys, everything can be pulled back. The brain still exists. Those memory, that consciousness exists somewhere in there. So for me, Stella was never dead until the brain would die. That's when he would die. So I'm not mad about Vegapunk, and I agree. Vegapunk coming back, or Stella, even Stella coming back, I'm just like, well, technically never died, right? You can say Stella died, but the brain that is Stella is still alive. And Lilith came from Stella. They all came from Stella. So if you can retrace your steps and put parts of each person back together, who do you get? Quasar. The Tower of Rand said it would be kind of weird if the strongest Holy Knight pulled up immediately, since usually the weakest one of an organization shows up first. Low-key believe there will be multiple Figurelands that are Shanks' brothers or sisters, with one of them being a new leader. If that's the case, we're bordering very, very murky, very dangerous territory if we got a bunch of Shanks and Shinkses running around. I don't know if I'd like that. I don't know if I like a bunch of these guys just running around like Seraphim. Or Pacifista. You just got like a bunch of Shankses running around and it loses its impact. That's what I think. So no. Truck Coon 11 says, I know Oda would bring Kuma back since there would be no other reason to keep his body around and not have him self-destruct in Egghead. And Vegapunk coming back was also obvious when it was revealed that none of the satellites were dead. But it doesn't change the fact that Oda should stop doing emotional death scenes only to reverse them later. Y'all know this has been the topic of discussion for the past week or two. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Morge. I'll say this. I'm not mad at people being upset at the death and what happens. That's their right. And I think it's fair to look at things and say, Oda, why? But we also can't be upset at people liking it and not having a problem with it. But the thing is, you have people on both sides that feel the way they do, and then they're somewhat offended sometimes that the other side feels the way they do. So you have people that like it, and then they look at the other side like, how could you not like it? And it's like, because I don't like it. I don't like it. And you have obviously the other side doing the same thing. So it leads to very contentious, bad faith arguments on both sides. So ultimately, it's not going to go anywhere. How I feel about it, Kuma, 1000% that. I think he should be dead. I understand, and I would love Bonnie to be happy, but I think there's a more, I want to say, cleaner way to bring Kuma back. I don't think he should come back in the same body. I think you could retain his consciousness in some way, try to pull back pieces of him, and Bonnie's the person that's putting it back together, like making him connect the dots. Just repairing him is like Kuma's back at 1000%, so he's gonna be part of the final war, just fighting with Dragon and them again, just holding the Bible. He's like, nothing happened. It does not take away from my initial reaction to Kuma's death, because that moved me. But upon rereading, right, upon the binge, because it's gonna happen again where I'm binging One Piece all through again, it's not gonna have the same impact, because I'm like, well, he didn't die, right? He's back. Where, happy birthday Bonnie, I thought that was it. And even him fighting through death to come and save his daughter, I thought that was amazing. And I wasn't mad at that, because it was just like a last ditch effort. I'm sacrificing every consciousness of my being, every fiber of my being to save my daughter. And then I give up the ghost. No, it's like, no, he's just still around, even with a weird case. No, I'm playing. But yeah, I don't know. I think what I said about Oda and the death scenes is that, and people were saying that Oda doesn't follow the prototypical formula that is used in a lot of literature or just media, right, in general. And I'm like, sure, but I feel like Oda has found a formula for his fans that people enjoy. And so, yeah, he doesn't have to follow the prototypical ways that things are done, because at the end of the day, he has a high percentage of it working, doing it the way that he does. So again, both sides have points and perspective that should be heard. But at the end of the day, en masse, it's not going to go anywhere, because people are dug in with what they feel, what they think, and how they feel. And so I just feel how I feel, and I talk to y'all. Like, we just gonna talk to each other, because it's not gonna get through the masses, because people they're dug in. Nero the Mana says, they've been showing us that cloning tech since Whole Cake Island. I can see Garland disowning Shanks and replacing him with a clone. Sure, certainly possible, but less impactful if you can just have clones of Shanks running around out here. I don't necessarily like it. That's what I say. I don't like it. Daniel Blackburn 9012, and he donated $5 as well. Thank you, Daniel. Said, so what if Stabs and Shanks are cool with each other? He could be a double agent, because he's mad that he's always had a twin and never knew him personally until he got old enough to meet him behind people's backs. What if they're working together, and that's why he said, let's go get it, because they're tight? He might have also had to have done the thing to Loki because the Gorosei made him. I appreciate that comment, Daniel. I would say this, that goes back to, have they ever worked together? What's going on there? Is there more insight that we need in regards to their relationship? Because there's no way Shanks does not know if a guy is running around out here that looks exactly like him. And again, even the tech that Stabs used to get to Elbaf, it's not far-fetched that Shanks can do the same thing. And we always talk about Shanks teleporting all over the world. What if he's literally doing that? Seriously, that's crazy. Eusorius, I guess, says, in Morge's stream, I commented Goldie Roger has been alive as Dr. Correa, and he banned me from his chat. As you should. You troll. I mean, I know people are probably trolling Morge a lot recently, especially considering everything that's going on. So, I mean, bro, you knew this was coming. Like, why would you do that? Anyway, oh my God. The community is up in arms, right? In regards to everything that's going on. People are coming back that kind of, tempered on One Piece a little bit, just because it's a very hype thing that Oda did, right? It's a hype storyline. Anything Shanks related is gonna get numbers, is gonna get eyeballs. So again, having Shanks without using the actual character is a genius move by Oda, I think. So guys, what do you think? Give me your thoughts about anything we discussed in this video. Shanks, Stabs, Shivs, Shanks, Kuma's death, Vegapunk's not death. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. I'm not sure if we were getting a chapter this week. Of course, it's Christmas week. We just gotta wait and see. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at B.D.A. Follow me on Instagram, B.D.A. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys help me out so much. You do a lot. And thank you. If you want to check it out, Patreon is in the description box down below. Watching Dragon Ball, Great Breaking Bad, The Bear, Eminence in the Shadow, one of my new favorites. But yeah, check it out. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.